Hey everyone. Today I wanted to literally illustrate a day in the life of a step-down ICU bad drawing nurse. So my workday is usually 7 to 3-ish. So my alarm is set up at a crisp old time of 5:45 in the morning. I give myself about an extra 2 minutes just to really try and get myself up, and then usually that's around the time that I actually get up to get my morning started. And usual routine, wash up a bit and then get dressed. So by now it should be about 6 o'clock. I should have everything that I need ready, which is usually just my lunch and my equipment, and then also a cup of coffee. And after I have everything, I am on my way out and run into my car, because in the morning it's not too bad. It's about a 30-minute commute, but you don't know like what kind of traffic there's going to be on the way, so always give myself a little bit of leeway. And usually to pass the time, I like to wake myself up to some sort of podcast that I've been listening to, something that kind of gets my head working, to kind of like wake my mind up as much as my body. So I've been listening to a lot of just like finance podcasts and nursing podcasts, or just like current affairs type podcasts. And then by 6:50-ish, a little after that, I'm pretty much clocking in. And then by 7, I should be receiving a report from the previous nurses. And depending on if I was working the day before and if I have the same patients, it tends to be a quick and easy update of how they've been overnight. But if I am getting introduced to a whole new batch of people, then usually I have to give myself an extra 5-10 minutes to read through their patient story, understand why they're here, the plans for the day. And then I get myself acquainted to them, introduce myself, let them know I'll be sending their previous nurse home, and see if there's anything else I could do for them before I come back to get the morning started. So yeah, between the start of my shift to about 9:30 is where I am taking my first assessments of the people I'm working with. If they are here for cardiac reasons or respiratory reasons, then I kind of hone in on that in my assessment. And that usually takes the first hour or so of my shift. And then by then I'm usually getting started with the medications and gathering everything I need and trying to chip away at that, because right now on my floor it's a 3-to-1 patient to nurse ratio. Sometimes they have a good amount of meds where you kind of just have to start picking at it before things really start to kick off. And right around 9:30 is when we start to do roundings with the doctors. We just update them on anything that we heard happened overnight, if there's anything interesting, as well as how they've been doing with us for the first couple hours of our shift, see how they're doing, and then also kind of understand what the rest of the day holds for us and the plan of care for them. Or if there's anything urgent that we need to address that we haven't yet, then that would be the perfect time to do so. And right around that time, usually around 10 o'clock-ish or so, I get my first break. We got 2:30s, and that's if we're pretty well staffed on the floor that day. But take some time, kind of sip on my coffee, and just, gather my emotions. Even though nothing much has happened, there's, Murphy's Law. Like, stuff is bound to happen. So you kind of just have to prepare yourself. And yeah, right around when that first break is done is when we get the rest of the day started. Anything that we address during rounds that we need to take care of, we start really honing into that. A lot of our people that we take care of, they might have procedures later in that day, so a lot of them haven't really had anything to eat or drink since the night before. So that's just something to acknowledge there. Maybe getting them ready for that procedure so that they can go down ASAP, so that they can finally have something to eat or drink. Right around that time is also maybe some new meds that we've been ordered, and also family should be coming in around this time too, just to check in on their loved ones, so we help them out with that. Kind of keep them updated as well, because the physicians are not always going to be around to help address any questions or needs that the new family members are coming in with. So you do your best as a nurse, staying in your scope, of course. Right around 2 o'clock-ish, sometimes before, sometimes after, give or take like an hour or so, we get our second break, another 30 for lunch. And right around this time is when, you kind of start to dissociate a lot. You've been through a lot. You've been running around, doing everything. probably mentally, physically, emotionally exhausted. So you kind of just have to take the time to refuel yourself with some lunch or just some peace and quiet. Right around this time is when we start giving our reports to the oncoming nurses, let them know how our day went, and then I am out of there. I am trying to make my way home at 3:30, which is perfect timing because that's when rush hour hits. So my 30-minute commute from the morning turns into about an hour-long one. So that gives me even more time to sit in my car and listen to podcasts and also dissociate a little, because at this point in time I am just gone. And I really gotta force myself to stay active. I go to the gym right after work, right after an hour-long commute, and it sucks, to be honest. It makes me miss those days where I didn't have much else to do aside than just going to the gym and then chilling at home. But you gotta make ends meet. And then sometimes if I'm really just too exhausted, I'll keep it light, do some climbing. But as long as I try to stay active and keep myself physically healthy to keep my mind healthy too. The issue is, if I were to just go straight back home, because I have a pull-up bar, sure, and I'll set that up, there's just too much around me to entice me to just take a chill pill, you know? My bed is right there. I'll just lie down and hop on, so I can't do that. And by the time I'm done at the gym, should be around 6 o'clock, I'll be back home. Usually around the time for din. To be quite honest with you, my chef skills are quite limited to air-fried foods and pre-packaged foods that you just heat up in the pan. So I try to chef it up for my girl and I, but she does a good amount of the cooking, and then I'm just the dish guy. So sometimes I can cook, but for now, that's kind of my contribution. And once we're eating some din, we just take a chill pill, watch something on Netflix or whatever. And if we're not watching too long of a movie, usually by about 8 o'clock, I'll be working on some extra stuff I'm doing on the side. So right now I am trying to go for my data analytics certificate. So that whole Coursera stuff on Google, that's like $50 a month. I'm slowly chipping away at that just to kind of dip my toes into that side hustle. And I'm making some good progress. I'm just chipping away at it any chance I get. And if I'm getting a little tired of that, which, you do the same thing over and over again every day, tends to happen, I kind of just take a break and start chipping away at some stuff for YouTube, like what I'm doing right now. And if I have a shift the next day, then that also means having to get ready for bed at a pretty early time. 9 o'clock, I'm already washing up, brushing my teeth, and by 9:30 I'll probably be hitting the hay. And that's in a perfect world, and that's if I had a great sleep schedule. Keep your phone away from bed, because it will mess you up like it messes me up. It will probably sap about an hour or two away from my sleep because of that. And even if I'm not on my phone, it's just tough for me to really fall asleep at a good time, and I'll be probably still awake by 10:30 or 11 o'clock, even if I have to be awake at 5:45 the next day. But either way, I've been feeling okay. Or I say that now, and then my 5:45 alarm rings, and then the cycle repeats where I cry myself awake. Anyways, thanks for listening to that. Just figured I'd start a little series where I talk about my daily routine. Even on days that I don't have work, I might make some videos about that. But always appreciate the support. I hope you enjoyed getting a little insight into my life. Take care, everyone, and stay healthy.